Well, hey y'all, welcome back to the house on Avery Road. We are back in the kitchen today, and I've got a recipe that excites me so very much. Years ago, Wayne and I used to work on cruise ships, and in the crew mess, we would go, and I had these for the first time in the crew mess on Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, and it is a staple in the Caribbean. It is braised oxtails. Now y'all, these things changed my life. They are so incredibly good. And I've got my oxtails here. This is about 9 pounds of oxtails. Now oxtails used to be like a struggle meal. Like way back in the day, oxtails was a part of the cow that rich people would just throw away. But the poor people that was around these people, they took these oxtails and they made the most fabulous stewed oxtails and braised oxtails. But today, oxtails are expensive. That's why I'm so excited to bring y'all this recipe, because this is not something that we normally have. So I have washed all these oxtails. I saved this one here. Well, it's washed. But what I'm going to do is show you how to clean these. Now, oxtails have a lot of fat on them. Like, see that piece of fat right there? So I'm just going to take and cut that fat off. Now, I've already done that with all of these other ones. So you just want to take, because oxtails are kind of fatty anyway, but you take and just cut all the excess fat off your oxtails. Try not to cut your hand off. So we're just cleaning this up. See, like right back here on the bottom, there's a lot of fat. So you just take this fat off and clean these oxtails up. Now, oxtails, when I was young, I always heard of oxtails, but I always thought that they were ox tails. But they're not. They're actually cows. And like I say, go to the store and price you some oxtails. It's a pretty expensive cut of meat, but I tell you something. Once you braise these down and they make that wonderful gravy, and you've got the butter beans in there and the carrots, so I'm going to call that pretty much done. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all this aside, and we're going to work on the marinade. Now, this has to marinate in the refrigerator overnight, and we're going to make these tomorrow. And it's one of those low and slow type deals. This is going to cook for 2.5, 3.5 hours tomorrow. But it's going to be so well worth it. So let me wash my hands, get rid of all the stuff, and we'll come back and we'll show y'all how to put together this marinade. All right, let's get to marinating. First off, not sugar, I need a good sprinkle of salt. And we're going to move these around so everything gets seasoned. Each piece. And some of these are huge. Some of them are relatively small, but some of them are big. And we're going to adjust seasoning once these get done too. So we're just going to put a little bit of salt on here. We're going to go in with some black pepper. Freshly cracked black pepper. There. Going to go in with some ketchup. A couple of tablespoons. Just like that. Some Worcestershire. A couple of tablespoons. Just like that. Right here, I have got a shallot. Not a shallot. I'm not talking about a shallot. Oh, no. I've got about 4 green onions, 1 small onion, and 1 tomato diced. So we're going to pop this over here. That's that. I have got a habanero pepper. Now, if you can get your hands on a scotch bonnet pepper, that's traditional. But I couldn't find one, so I've got a habanero pepper, no seeds, no ribs. So we're gonna toss that in, like that. Put that in the bowl. I've got parsley. Put that in there. This is gonna marinate. And now I've got some Caribbean green seasoning. Now, the other night I filmed when I made this, but I accidentally deleted that. So I will have the instructions on how to make this Caribbean green seasoning in the show notes, in the description box. So we're gonna put a couple of good tablespoons right over in there. And the green seasoning, like you'll see down the show notes, it's thyme, cilantro, green onion, all kind of good green seasonings. So now I'm gonna throw this in at the end because we're gonna use this tomorrow in the gravy. So let me get something to grate this ginger with. I'm gonna get my box grater, which is right here. All right, I'm gonna get the box grater and we're going to grate in this ginger. Ginger gives this such a great flavor. I love ginger. So there we go. The ginger, I like ginger. I'm gonna put a little more in. Why not? Y'all, I'll put the amounts of all this in the show notes. But right now what I need to do is find me a bigger bowl because I've really got to work all this meat. So let me get me a bigger bowl. This is what I'm gonna store it in the refrigerator in. But I'm gonna get me a bigger bowl and we're just gonna massage this meat. Okay, so I got me a bigger bowl so I could work with. I'm gonna pop all this over in this big bowl. I'm gonna keep this out here because I'm gonna use that. Now there's one other thing. This is allspice berries. And what I'm gonna do is just give these a good grind. And I'm actually gonna get just a couple more because I want more allspice. So let me grab these. This is Jamaican allspice berries. You can get them in the spice section. And I love these. In any Caribbean dish, whether it be like jerk chicken or anything like that, the Caribbean people use a lot of allspice in their savory dishes.
We use it in our brine too.
We do use it in our turkey brine, sure do. So, it's about a teaspoon of allspice right there. And now I'm gonna go in with my clean hands and we're just gonna mix all this together and get everything really good and coated with this marinade. Y'all come look in here. Look how awesome that looks. And this is just gonna sit in that refrigerator overnight, a good 12 hours, and do absolutely phenomenal things. And tomorrow, we're gonna braise. So, I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna get this back in that container. I'm gonna make sure that I scrape out every bit of this marinade from this big bowl back into that little one because we don't wanna lose not one speck of the marinade because we're gonna use that tomorrow when we braise this meat. See y'all tomorrow. Okay, so what I've done, I've taken the oxtails out of the marinade. These are the really large pieces. I'm gonna have to sear those separately from these ones. But what I did, I put 2 cups of water in all that marinade, and I took the meat out, wiped the marinade off, and I put 2 cups of water in there. This is a bundle of thyme, fresh thyme, that I just tied together with some twine. I've got a couple of tablespoons of brown sugar, coconut milk, canola oil. And right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start this back burner and I'm gonna put it on just below high heat. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start the process of searing this off. So let me put some canola oil in here and we're gonna wait just a minute. And I'm gonna go, I don't know, a couple of tablespoons of canola oil right there. And we're gonna wait till this comes up to temperature, and then I'll show you this step. Okay, so the pan is heated up. This is 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. What I'm gonna do is toss this in here. Now, y'all, this is kind of a scary thing to do because what we're having to do is caramelize this sugar. Now, this goes from perfect to absolutely useless burnt in just a few seconds. So I'm gonna get Wayne to shoot down in here and show you what this brown sugar's doing. It's needing to go to an amber color, okay? So it's on pretty high heat. It's gonna get frothy. And it'll burn very, very quickly. So what you gotta do is just keep it moving. Keep a look at it, and have your oxtails over here ready to go in, because that's what's going to stop this cooking process. So you can see how quick that's going. Move it around. Notice the color. It's going frothy. It's going to smoke quite a bit.
I'd say it's done.
And we're there. In goes the oxtail. Okay. Now, I've got those oxtails on that side. I'm going to put these bigger ones right over here. Everything has got to sear off. Now, y'all, you saw how quickly that happened? It happens so quickly. Give them my hands a minute. Now, y'all, if you do that and somehow your sugar turns black before you can get your oxtails in, you've got to stop. Take everything off the heat, let it cool down, clean up, and start over. It's kind of intense, really. But that's just what you gotta do. So, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna stir this around just a little bit. And I'm getting some great color on there. And I'm just gonna keep this stirred. And what I'm actually gonna do is turn it down now to about medium. And this is gonna build some juice. I'm gonna put the lid on it. And it's gonna build up a little bit of juice. And then we'll come back and show y'all the next step. All right. Now, once I turn the pot down, I put the lid on and I let it sit here on about medium heat for 10 minutes. So right now I'm gonna take this off and stir, and you'll see that there's some liquid down in there. What we're gonna do right now is turn this heat back up to high, and we're gonna cook off all that liquid. So once this liquid cooks off, I'm gonna bring you back and show you what we got. And we're gonna finish this up and get this ready to start braising. Smells delicious. All right, I'm gonna get Wayne to show you all down in here. Most of that liquid has cooked off, as you can see that. Got just a little bit left, mostly that oil and fat from the oxtails. So now we're still on high heat. Look at the color. That is the color that you want. That dark brown color, and it smells amazing. So now what I'm going to do is throw in a can of coconut milk. Stir that around. This is going to make the most amazing gravy, y'all. Now, to that, we're going to toss in this 2 cups of water that we put in our marinade here. Toss that right in. Look at that. I'll limit it, so put a little bit more water in there. And now this is still on high heat. I'm gonna add this thyme that I've got tied up right there. And we're gonna bring this up to a boil and reduce it down to a simmer, and I'll show you the simmer that we want. And basically, we're gonna let this go for about 2 hours. But even after that 2 hours, we're not gonna be done, because this is gonna have to go for about 3.5 hours. But I'll come back and show you what it looks like. All right, now this is the last thing we've got to do for a couple of hours. Well, except keep it stirred. So we'll come over here and look. It come up to a rolling boil, and I'm taking it down to a simmer. That's what it looks like. It smells amazing. So we're just gonna let this go just like this for 2 hours. And we'll show you what it looks like after that 2 hours. Now, I am gonna come back in here and stir this every 15-20 minutes, just whenever we think about it. I can't wait to eat, y'all. This is gonna be so good. Okay, y'all, let's talk about your oxtails for a minute. If you get your oxtails pre-packaged, you're not gonna have to do a lot of cleaning. But if you go to your butcher and you get them to cut your oxtails fresh, the bandsaw will leave shards of bone. So when you clean your oxtails, when you give those a good wash, all those bone fragments, you need to clean those off really, really good, because nobody wants bone fragments when they're trying to enjoy a wonderful bowl of oxtails and rice, right? So clean those off really good. I didn't really explain about washing them. I used a little bit of vinegar and water, and I washed those oxtails really, really good. Checking for bone fragments, checking for any grit. So really, really wash your oxtails really, really good, and you'll be perfect. Okay, y'all. The oxtails have been going for 2 hours. They're looking beautiful. But right now, traditionally, you would not add carrots to this dish. But some people do. I personally love a good carrot. I love some veg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare these carrots to go in the oxtails. Now they've still got about an hour to an hour and a half to cook. So what I'm going to do is take this carrot, and I like big pieces of carrot. So I'm going to slice them into pretty big pieces, just about like that. And now that they've been going for 2 hours, I'm gonna add these to the oxtails and let them go for about another hour, and then I'm gonna check them to see how tender they are. And I've got a can of butter beans. Now I'm gonna rinse these. I'm gonna take them out of the can, rinse them, drain them, and then about 30 minutes before we're done, I'm gonna add these butter beans to this. And I'm also gonna make some rice. So right now, I'm just getting the carrots ready to go into the oxtails. And I think I've got one more carrot in the refrigerator, so I'm gonna add that one too, because I love carrots. And we're feeding 3 people, so I need one more carrot. But we're gonna do one more carrot into the oxtails, and then we're gonna let that cook down for another hour. I'm probably gonna take the lid off of it because I want the gravy to really reduce. Because right now, let me show you what this looks like. Right now, we've still got a lot of liquid in these oxtails. So I'm gonna take the lid off, let them cook down, add the carrots, and y'all, they smell amazing. I want this gravy to really thicken up. And that's only gonna happen if I take the lid off and let it reduce down. So, we'll come back. I'm gonna add these carrots. We'll come back and we'll show y'all in about 3 hours what this looks like. All right. Now, it's been about 50 minutes. So, that's 2 hours and 50 minutes. And you can see here, the gravy looks amazing. The short ribs look amazing. It smells so good. The carrots are done. I've got my rice here. My rice is cooking. And I have got 2 cans of butter beans. Okay. I put these in a sieve, drained them, rinsed them really well. And this is those butter beans. They are so good. Straight out of the can. So we're gonna add these to the oxtails. And we're gonna cook this for about 25 to 30 more minutes. And then we will be ready to eat. Look at that pot of goodness. Now, I tasted it a few minutes ago for salt. Once I added the carrots, I did add just a little bit more salt, but taste it. Taste it for seasoning, and you're gonna be good to go. So, the next time you see me, I will be sampling some of this goodness. See you in about 20 minutes. Okay, so everything is ready. It is time. I've chopped off some scallions. I'm gonna take and add these to the pot for a little freshness. Look at this. The butter beans, the oxtails, the carrots, the scallions. It looks absolutely amazing. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get a plate and we're gonna taste this. The rice just got finished. And y'all, I'm telling you something right now. I am starving. This recipe takes a while, like 3.5 hours, but it is so worth it. So let's go in, let's get some oxtails and some gravy, butter beans. Oh, look. That looks absolutely amazing. It's gonna be so hot. But I've got a taste, right? So, the oxtails are falling apart. The meat, look, falling off the bone. Oh, the butter beans. Let's give this a taste. Oh. Y'all, braised meat. Low, slow, attention to detail. It is so incredibly good. Now with oxtails, you've got to realize that you've got the bone marrow that has cooked low and slow and taken on all that flavor and lending so much flavor. Oh, absolutely amazing. With oxtails, you've got to realize that you've got the bone marrow, you've got the cartilage and everything that cooks out of the tail. It lends so much to the dish. It is so spectacular. So y'all, get in the kitchen and cook. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope you make this dish. The only tricky thing to this dish, besides the time it takes, is the sugar. When you're caramelizing that sugar, if it burns and turns black, start over, or you're not gonna have a great dish. But until next time, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment box, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna continue to eat this and enjoy every bite of it. And I'll see y'all soon. Bye. If it's on the bone and it's soft, eat it.